Hello, welcome to week 8. I'm in an actual classroom today. I'm using one at Norco, and I thought it'd be fun to just let me move. Oh, this way, that way, to actually write on a whiteboard. Still covering the number. Anyhow, I'm excited to be here and actually try to use a classroom today. But before I go into week 8, guess what? We're halfway through the semester. Good job, guys. I know it's been a long semester already. I wanted to talk about the elevator pitch. How was that for you? I noticed that some of you still haven't turned it in, and it's due today. If you're nervous, I'm not judging you on what so much like your appearance if you're videotaping. So don't worry about that, or if you're just recording. I just want to hear you actually say what you're going to go into and have the speech. Like I mentioned last week, people are going to ask you what you're doing in college anyway. So just make it natural. Send it to me. It's only 30 seconds. Again, it's due today. But for those of you that have turned them in, I was so excited to see you and hear you, and you making these big plans, these big decisions. Good for you. Okay, so week 8, we're going to talk about you made a decision. So now what? What college are you going to go to? Do you even need to transfer to a 4-year institution? For the career that you need, we're going to explore colleges and find what is best for you. Okay, so let's begin. So many of you made the big decision last week in step 5 and narrowed down your career choice. Now we have a lot more room to explore the college plan. This week, we're going to talk about college, some basic transfer information, what I'm going to call Transfer 101 week. Just a quick disclaimer before we move forward that this lecture does not take the place of meeting with an actual transfer counselor. I'm just providing basic information to tell you a bit more about what we offer at Norco. So if you want to transfer, I recommend meeting with a transfer counselor. Everything we talk about during this lecture, I'm going to provide links in the modules and have descriptions because you're probably going to come across some information that you would like to research on your own and to have access to. So just take a look at the modules. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, contact me, and I'll be happy to provide further details. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So many students choose to do their first 2 years of their coursework at a community college and then transfer to a 4-year university to complete their bachelor's degree. And with the decision to transfer comes some benefits and some challenges. So let me talk about benefits of transferring. The benefit would be that you're saving a ton of money by coming here to Norco College because it's much more affordable than traditional 4-year universities, especially now that Norco College is offering free tuition to many first-time college students. And even if you don't qualify for the first-time college student program, our cost of attendance is $46 a unit, which is a huge difference from the $380 semester units at a Cal State system. And if you continue on, it's $317 quarter units at a UC, and it can be up to $1,000 a unit at a private school. And so by attending community college, you're being super money savvy, saving a ton of money and still getting a quality education, especially during this pandemic where some students are not even allowed to go to college or take classes in person, and they have to do it online. Other benefits of transferring, you're going to be adjusting to college life. Studying at a community college helps. Classes like this one, where you can explore different careers and majors, especially if you're undecided. There are many flexible class schedules. So if you work full-time, or you can only study in the mornings or only study at night, Norco College and other community colleges offer many night classes and are flexible for students who have other commitments besides school in terms of challenges. Okay, so more challenges. To study for your bachelor's degree, you really have to commit to that. So it was really important that we, in this course, have gone through the decision-making wheel where you understand your why. You took assessments to understand yourself, your values. You're doing your research and becoming informed and making a decision based on your research and all the information you've gathered. So once you do decide to transfer to a four-year university, it's very difficult to change your major. So you need to commit to your major by the time you're applying to transfer. Also, as a transfer student, you have to adjust quickly to your new university. So you're going to be transferring in as a junior, and that requires only 2 short years for you to adjust to a new school. However, there are many resources at the university that you'll be transferring to that will help ensure a smooth transition for transfer students. And also, another big challenge in some schools is they are selective with their admission process. So some schools don't even accept transfer students, and some take very few. Really, when it comes down to transferring, you want to do your research on the admission rates, the minimum GPA requirements, and programs that accept transfer students. So where do we begin with the transfer process? Like I mentioned, this is a big week. You're going to be getting a lot of information about transfer. So it's important for you to plan ahead. For some of you, this may be your first semester or your first school year at a community college. However, it's a lengthy process for you to transfer. So the more well prepared you are, the better. And here's some information. We have Norco College Transfer Center. They have a great website, and I'll provide a module for you. But it's really important that you get in touch with the transfer center. Also, it's important to go to whatever prospective university you're planning to go to, their website, and find out information. Here at Norco College, we have university representatives from college institutions that come to visit. So you want to pay attention to the Norco College transfer website for events and dates when those representatives are here at school. Also, they have a Instagram and social media that you might want to follow just so you get a heads up when those transfer or those university representatives come to Norco. Now, everything is on Zoom right now. I don't think that you can actually meet in person, but you can set up an appointment, a one-on-one appointment with the transfer center through Zoom. So the transfer process, it's a big week, like I said. So I'm going to try to chunk things down to 5 areas or 5 steps. Each university is unique. I recommend researching universities. I'm not emphasizing that enough. Research, so you have a clear idea of what is the best fit for you and your educational needs. Okay, so step 1, know your options. You have to ask yourself questions. You need to consider your career goals, consider your personal goals and criteria. 3, research universities. Build your university list. Number 4, you're going to develop a career plan in this class this week, but also I'm going to give you information about the student educational plan here at Norco College. Number 5, apply to a variety of universities. All right, so step 1, know your options. It's important to examine all the options that are available to you as a transfer student, and that includes researching both public and private four-year universities. So the school that you may have had your heart set on at this very moment may change depending on what you're looking for in a campus. What do you want to study? So every university is unique. Not all schools offer the same major. So it's really important for you to know what is out there so you can make informed decisions. Okay, so let's talk about the differences between Cal States and UCs and private universities. Let's go ahead and get started with the Cal States first, this area right in here. So Cal States are publicly funded, so you may have heard of some of them. So Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Long Beach, San Diego State University, Fresno State, Cal Poly Pomona. Those are examples of Cal States. We call them CSUs for short. And what really differentiates Cal States from other universities is that they really focus on hands-on experience. So they want you to be well prepared for your career. They'll help you get internships. They want you to be in the field. So when you do graduate with your bachelor's degree, you have a well-rounded resume to best prepare you for your future career. Cal States are the most affordable. University system in California, scratch that. They are cheaper than the UCs, and in terms of admissions consideration, they have a lower GPA requirement than the UCs or privates. So the minimum GPA requirement for Cal State Fullerton and Cal State Long Beach right now is about 2.7, 2.8 GPA. They strictly look at your GPA. So Cal States don't look at your extracurricular involvements. They don't require you to write a personal statement. They're strictly concerned with your transferable GPA. There are 23 CSUs across California. And at the CSU, you can pursue your bachelor's degree, which is what you will be pursuing as a transfer student. And then later, if you choose, you can later earn a master's degree. Okay, so now we're going to focus on the universities of California, also known as UCs for short. It's another publicly funded university system in California. You may have heard of UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Berkeley. Those are some examples of UCs. And what UCs really emphasize is research and theory. So while Cal States really focus on that hands-on experience and career preparation, UCs are very theory-based. So some of the best researchers in the world are professors at UCs. They are cheaper than private universities. However, they are a little more expensive than the Cal States. And something that I will mention that I want to mention about Cal State and UCs is that they still offer a lot of scholarship-based money on your FAFSA. So you will still be applying for FAFSA even when you transfer. And I'll have more information on financial aid when we do the financial plan. In terms of admissions considerations, UCs do have a higher GPA requirement. So for UCI, for example, the minimum GPA is, I believe, around a 3.4. In addition to your GPA, they're also looking at your extracurricular involvement. And you're also required to answer some personal insight questions, also known as personal statements. And FYI, by the way, the Transfer Center does have personal insight question workshops to help you with those personal statements. You just have to go to their event calendar to see when they have those available. Okay, so back to the UCs. Diligent students, they want to know, okay, so they're looking for more than just diligent students. They want to know that you are capable of getting good grades, but also that you're involved in the community. So it's a little trickier to get into a UC, but that is just something to keep in mind. There are 10 campuses of UCs across California. 9 of those 10 offer bachelor's degrees, and then you can later choose to earn a master's degree and even a doctoral degree, if that is your goal. All right, so next would be the California private colleges over here. These are not publicly funded. That's why they're private. Examples of private universities would be Biola University, which is over near LA, Chapman University, USC is a private university, Stanford. So not publicly funded, but the thing about private universities is that there are many additional financial aid opportunities available to students. So just by applying to a private university, oftentimes you're automatically put into a scholarship applicant pool just by you applying, so you don't have to apply for anything extra. You're just considered based on your socioeconomic status. Perhaps if you're a first-generation student or you're a student of color, you can still be considered for extra scholarships and grants in addition to your FAFSA information. And the thing about private universities as well is that they may be affiliated with specific field of study or religion. So if you wanted to go to an art school, so let's say the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, that is a private university, specifically like Biola University. This one is a Christian affiliated one. So they do require you to go to some services and things like that. Some schools, they may not be affiliated, whether a university requires you to be affiliated to a religion or not. Like, for example, Loyola Marymount University in LA, it's a Catholic institution, but they do not require students to go to Mass. USC is a private university. They are religiously affiliated. So it really depends on the school in terms of admission consideration. It will vary from each private school. Some schools may be more competitive than others. So you just want to know what the GPA requirements are as well as the transfer requirements. There's hundreds of private universities to choose from at the private university level. You can get job training certificate, earn a bachelor's, a master's, or even a doctoral degree at these universities, and certainly help to do your research ahead of time. So the next area that we're going to talk about are these out-of-state universities. With out-of-state universities, you have to pay an out-of-state tuition. So this is the same nationwide. If you are not a resident of that state, you are attending, you're going to pay a higher education institution fee. You need to pay what is called the out-of-state tuition. So usually if you are a non-resident, you'll be paying much more than what a resident would be paying. Then that is something to keep in mind if you're thinking about going out of state. We're going to talk about another program that when we get into more in-depth in private universities where you can actually apply to some out-of-state colleges through another program. So just keep that in mind, that it's not always the case that you're going to pay out of tuition if there's programs. In terms of admission considerations, again, it varies by university. So many personal statements are required, others don't. It's just going to depend on the school that you're interested in going to. So do your research. Okay, so moving away from the differences between the different school systems, I specifically would like to mention the Associate Degree for Transfer. We call this ADT for short. And what ADT is an agreement between California Community Colleges and the CSU system. Basically, it's going to make it easier for transfer students to transfer. So you'll be earning associate. So let's say if you're earning an associate degree at Norco College, and you'll get lots of benefits along with having a degree. From Norco College, it's not required in order for you to transfer. You can simply just take the required courses that you need to take and then transfer out. But if you are specifically interested in the Cal States, I highly recommend looking into the Associate's Degree for Transfer, the ADT. So it's a clear pathway to your CSU major and your bachelor's degree. You are guaranteed admission to a CSU campus with a similar major, and you get a 0.1 GPA boost when you apply to transfer. So let's use an example. Let's say I'm getting my associate degree for transfer in psychology here at Norco. When I apply to transfer, let's say to Cal State Fullerton as a psychology major, Cal State Long Beach as a psychology major, my GPA will be boosted from 0.1. So I'm right at the cusp of the minimum 2.7 GPA requirement. By me applying to the Cal State with an ADT in an impacted school like Cal State Fullerton or Long Beach, I will now look like I have a 2.8 GPA. And just a disclaimer about this, the 0.1 GPA boost is not applied to your GPA forever. It's just strictly for admission consideration. But that is a great benefit that you would get if you are earning an associate degree from a transfer. So things to consider too. The way Cal State works is that they primarily accept students, or they look at students in their primary geographic region first before they start accepting students from other locations. So for example, here at Norco College, our local Cal State is Cal State Fullerton. So no matter what, Cal State Fullerton is going to be looking at Norco College students first before accepting others. However, Cal State Long Beach, which is another popular Cal State in this area that students transfer from here, this is not a local school. So it's harder to get into Long Beach than it is to get into Fullerton. But if you are earning your associate degree here at Norco, ADT specifically, and you apply to a major that is similar to your ADT at Cal State Long Beach, you'll be considered and you'll be given priority consideration after they look at their local applicants. Schools that they accept transfers from, they'll also be looking at your application first as well. So if you're interested in learning more, you can certainly visit the ADT website or the Transfer Center. I will provide a module and a link in this week with more information on ADT. Okay, moving on. Now, if you're interested in the UCs, I highly recommend that you look into Norco College's honors program. I've listed some of the requirements down here. You have to have a 3.0 GPA and at least 9 units of transferable coursework for our CCD students. Eligibility for and completing English 1A, and the completion of an honors program application for all students interested in the program. So this is really important because for UCs, they're really looking for a well-rounded student, because UCs look more in a student than just their transcript. They look at your extracurricular involvements. So the Norco College Honors Program can really help you create a more well-rounded application for when you transfer. And what the honors program is that it provides a unique seminar-like environment with close academic and social interaction with faculty and other highly motivated honor students. So with the honors program, you would be getting priority consideration for admission to specific universities. You're also going to be completing extracurricular activities, and there's a service learning component to the honors program. And you also get specialized counseling and advising from the honors program director and counselor. And I also have a module with more information about this, but if you are considering the UC system, I really encourage you to apply to the Norco College honors program. Okay, so moving on, just like the CSUs have the ADT program, the UCs have this transfer admission guarantee, what they call TAG. And if you're so this is a super great thing because this is a transfer admission guarantee program. TAG. So with TAG, you can earn guaranteed admission to one of the following 6 UCs if you meet their TAG eligibility requirements. So those six UCs are UC Davis, UC Merced, UCI, UC Riverside, UC Santa Barbara, UC Santa Cruz. Okay, so let's say that you want to tag UC Irvine as a biology major. If you meet UC Irvine's tag requirements for biology, that means certain courses need to be taken, and you meet the certain GPA, and you need to have a number of units completed by this date, and you meet those requirements, then you have guaranteed admission to UC Irvine. And then in November, when the general population applies to transfer to all the UCs, you can apply to any UC for admission that you would like, knowing that you have UC Irvine in your back pocket. So if you'd like to learn more, definitely meet with a transfer counselor. And for tag requirements and other tag information, I will provide a module just for tag information. Wow, that's quite a bit of information, isn't it? Okay, so we talked about the differences between Cal State's and UC's, the ADT program, the honors program, and TAG. So now that you're aware of all the options that are available to you, step 2 is asking yourself questions. Here are some things to consider. Thinking about what college you may like to transfer to. What career are you considering? So you've gone through the career decision-making wheel. You've asked about your why. You've answered what your values and found out what your skills are. And last week, you made the decision. So let's start considering other things. How much time are you going to be spending on your education? So one of the assignments for you was to find out, do you need a bachelor's degree? Do you need a transfer? Or is it just an associate's degree or maybe a certificate? Or do you need a master's program? So this is information you need to be collecting now. Are you going to move on later to get a bachelor's degree or maybe a master's degree or a doctoral degree? Or do you need to go to law school? Other questions, does the university you're considering offer your major? That's a really important question because not all campuses offer the same major. So you need to do your research. What schools are the best fit for you? Will the course that you take at this college be accepted at the university you're considering? And this is an important question that you need to meet with your transfer counselor on. And what is the minimum GPA requirement for transfer students? Other questions to ask yourself. The campus size. So this may not be important to you, but it is something to consider. So this means both geographically, meaning do you want to be able to get between classes easily and quickly? Or are you okay with getting on a bus to go from class to class? Or do you ride a bike? Other things about campus size is how many students are enrolled. So, for instance, at Cal State Fullerton, there are currently about 39,000 students enrolled. That is a huge school. So that is something that is, so is that something that's important to you? Do you not mind if you're going to be in a giant lecture hall with hundreds of other students? Or do you really value that one-on-one connection that you could get with your professor? Again, campus size may not be a factor for you, but it is something to think about. Another thing to think about is location of university. So do you want to be in a city? Do you want to be in a more rural area? So geography is very important if those are things that you value. Do you want to live at home or commute to campus? Or do you want to move out? And if you're going to be commuting, what does that commute look like? Are you going to be spending a ton of hours on the freeway? And are you okay with that? And if you do choose to move away, how much is the cost of living going to cost you? So how much is rent? Do you need to get a roommate? Other expenses. And lastly, another thing to consider is the cost and financial feasibility. So this includes financial aid options. We're going to have another week that we're going to talk about the financial plan, and we'll go over the financial aid options there. But just keep this in the forefront. What is the financial feasibility that you can afford this campus? All important things to ask yourself. Step 3, research universities. Once you have a clear list of what you're looking for in a university, it's time to start researching. And that is what this week is about. You're going to be looking at transfer websites like californiacolleges.edu, assist.org, collegetransfer.net, and I will provide other websites specific to the UC system and Cal State system. So you're going to be doing university exploration this week. But these are some of the websites, and they're very helpful with the research process. And it's a wonderful tool to have so you can compare. Other things to think about when you're doing the research, you need to think about the transfer counselors and making appointments. Like I mentioned in the other slide, are the courses you're taking transferable? There is assist.org that's going to help you, but also just to solidify your question and get a good answer, meet with a transfer counselor. We have transfer fairs. The Transfer Center also has a website with a calendar of events for university advising appointments and Norco transfer workshops. I will include the page in this module. Step 4, you're going to develop a student educational plan. A student educational plan is a schedule of courses for each semester that you are enrolled at Norco College to meet your educational goal. You can develop your comprehensive student educational plan by meeting with your transfer counselor. Also, this course is going to help you. It's not a required component for this course. We're going to be more focused on that college plan, the financial plan, and the career plan in this course. But the SEP includes general education requirements, major preparation, electives if needed. And step 4, the college plan. The college plan will be an assignment in the module that we're going to go over. And it's going to be something we work on next week as well. Okay, so that is it for this week's lecture. Make sure to go into the module so you are staying on track of your assignments. This assignment for the week is going to be exploring colleges. Again, if you would like to Zoom, contact me, email me if you have questions. And when I do the page for your assignment, I'll have step-by-step on how to complete that college exploration assignment. Thank you and have a wonderful week.